Even though it's a new meta, you still have some of the same old challengers, but Yubel and Centurion are making some interesting splashes. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So we actually have the full breakdown here for this regional. This is actually a very rare sight to actually see out here. The fact that Tempai Dragons had 19 participants in this is actually kind of interesting to see. We had 18 Despia following it up here as well. So you're telling me that Tempai and Branded were the most heavy represented. That's interesting. We also had Snake Eyes at 8, Voiceless Voice at 6, Flaunderies, Purely, and Horus Stun, actually, and Kashtira all with 5, and leaving 37 other decks in the other category, which is kind of interesting to see out here. I will say that in terms of, developments for the course of the meta, that's some very random stuff, but Tempai being this budget-friendly challenger is absolutely amazing. Now, your top 8 here. We had 3 Snake Eyes decks in the top cut, which, once again, I'm not surprised to see that Snake Eyes is kind of stepping on up to bat here, showcasing this deck's actual ferocity in the meta, which is absolutely amazing to see. We also had 2 Kashtira decks. Now, I will say Kashtira's mid-range control options that it has going for it allows this deck to kind of edge itself out in some of the most interesting situations. And we also have Centurion. Yeah, a deck being able to Calamity Lock your opponent and be able to deploy some of these other resources, I think is quite good. Yubel still doing some things out here. Yubel kind of being the Tempai Dragon killer, because none of those 19 Tempai Dragon decks made it into Top Cut, which is also kind of a scary thing to see. And we also had the 1 Labyrinth Duelist here getting top 4, which is absolutely amazing. I will say, the breakdown for this event, much different than what you're kind of used to seeing, but it's got some of the same strong meta. Let's pass on over to deck list. Winning our event here was actually Kashtira, of all things. I did not expect to see a mid-range control monster actually doing this, but the deck actually did it. You do see this deck had the Gravekeeper's Inscriptions piled on into the main deck here, or into the side deck, showcasing, that ability to lock that opponent's graveyard actually is very, very important, and Cash doesn't really give a crap about, ooh, the graveyard suddenly got locked. Like, what are you gonna do? The answer is, it doesn't really matter. All right, you have your options and you're fully good to go. This build's also main decking Rivalry, which is also a different change to what I'm used to seeing. I'm not used to seeing these floodgates being populated in these decks, but once again, this is a good thing out here. You're seeing the meta start to shake things up out here, and players are starting to test out some very different things. So, very, very interesting, to say the least out here, that Kashtira being this little control deck is pretty scary. Second place here is our Snake Eyes Good Stuff pile. Now, if you're expecting some sort of crazy innovations with this, I think Econ's going to be probably the most interesting thing that you're going to get with this. To be honest with you, I do see that you do have the Anti-Scam Fragrance down there as a one-up, but I feel like if a deck can play Anti-Spell at this point, you're going to go ahead and you're going to jam-pack it on into the deck, because you want to make sure, at this point it's a one-up. You developed a staple, Konami. What'd you expect to happen? This build's also playing Forbidden Droplet and the Ghost Ogres. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Ogres and a lot of this good stuff kind of popping on through here as the course of the meta goes. And you do see that Omega has found himself into the extra decks out here as that little choice filter option, be able to hit the RNG ping out of your opponent's hand. Yeah, current Snake Eyes developments, the deck is a lot more tolerable than it once was, which is a very good thing. I will give Konami a little bit of credit. They did this list pretty well. Now, we have Labyrinth coming in 3rd place here. First interesting real things I see here. Terrors of the Overroot is actually back. That's right. We're finally getting some action out here with Terrors of the Overroot. Yay! I do see that we are playing the spell card, or the field spell, or the little Labyrinth good stuff down on the side deck. We also do have the triple copies of the Revealer, Protect the Face Down cards, be able to deploy it and do your thing. And I will tell you, Destructive Daruma Cannon is an amazing card card right now against Tempire. Being able to force those key cards off of your opponent's field, especially when they're like, well, you know, we're going to go ahead and we're going to try to navigate up on some combo lines. No. This deck is also playing triple copies of Trap Trick as well, so you can actually get to the actual destructive Drew mechanic. It's all just gas with this. All right, you want to make sure that you're getting to those key cards or you're going to lose the game. Next up is Yubel here. We do see the standard Unchained package coming into play here, which I think we're going to continue to actually see that do its thing. You are doing 2 base Yubels and one of the one of the Terror Incarnate. We're not doing the Ultimate Nightmare. I still do like the Ultimate Nightmare. I find it a very cool card that you can kind of toggle into as you're going through the lines, be able to put that pressure on your opponent so you can kind of do your thing. We also have 2 3,300 attack kaijus down there, and they are dark. You want to make sure that you can see that. Nightmare Throne moving on in here as the best 3 of. We're only playing 1 opening of the Spirit Gates, which a few people might find that to be a little bit weird, but to be honest with you, you just want to make sure that you can kind of see the card so you can do your thing. Outside of that, I think a lot of these Unchained innovations you're going to continue to see are just going to be very simple. You know, we can play this 1 of ratio along the way, or maybe a 2 to 3 of, and be fine. Next up is our next Kashtira variant here. Wow. Kashtira really did take this regional by storm, and I'm so happy to see that. We are doing one of the Scareclaw Kashtira. We are doing the triple Moonlit Chillin' here, which is pretty normal. We do have double tack talents in the main deck, no Thrustaroos. We do have double Evenly in the side deck as well, and you do see that we are siding those triple Solemn Judgments. I do adamantly think right now that Solemn Judgment is one of the coolest cards that you can kind of have as a defensive option, because it can just steal games away from your opponent so mindlessly. A well-timed judgment in this format wins you some of the freest matchups. And I mean, we can't forget that, Kashtira has the best mid-range control options available in really any modern era Yu-Gi-Oh deck. So I'm not surprised to see that this deck is overcoming, these hurdles in the meta just with Fenrir and Unicorn scraping off those extra deck options. Next up is Centurion here. And you're going to notice we have a little pop-up there that does some very interesting little things. I do believe it's added to the hand. It's the ability to special summon itself. So that means that, if we do see the Trudea, we can bonfire on into the new pupper, and then the little dog can extend itself onto the field. That means, Packbit becomes a little bit more accessible. I have noticed in a lot of these Centurion builds out here that having the access to that Packbit can actually make or break a lot of these matchups. And I do agree. A lot of the discussion points that have been had out here with Packbit have just definitely been, the card can steal some very strong games. And this deck's also playing, I kid you not, there's an Exciton Knight down there in the extra deck. So if you need to be able to kind of equalize a field after your opponent has set up some pretty crazy advantage, you can actually do so with that. That's actually so stupid. I didn't actually ever consider Exciton Knight, but okay. Next up is your Snake Eyes Diabellstar Kashtira build. This is kind of what we were seeing last format as developments were going. You do see that you are maximizing on the triple race slot, but you also do see 2 Fenrirs and 2 Unicorns in here as well. So you can kind of start to get that mid-range control options that you need to see to be able to start controlling your opponent out of the game. And you also do have access to the 1 Birth. If you haven't noticed, Birth is a pretty stupid card when it comes to this game, just for the free burnout you can get. We're also citing Baldrake as well with Druisworm and Magna Hut. Very interesting to see that Baldrake has been getting some actual value in this build. Outside of that, I mean, the Kashtira deck being able to access these key cards and put that pressure on your opponent so you can kind of just steal a game is absolutely amazing. Just like the lawnmower outside my house, you mow up that competition and you're able to do excellent with it. And of course, we do have our last Snake Eyes deck in here. You do see the Unicorns and the 1-up Fenrir in here. Actually, they actually chose more for the aspect of cleaving off extra deck options from the opponent as opposed to everything else. And we do have a Curry Kara in here as well. I'm not seeing hardly any Curry Kara this format. And we also have triple Solemn Judgment in here as well. So you've got a lot of cool options available to you for this. A little bit more tacked out than I'm used to seeing, but you know what? As this meta goes, I'm not disappointed. I actually think that's kind of cool. So what do you guys think about this regional? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.